If you are experiencing foundation issues, get a free estimate from Ox Foundations.
And let's take a look now at what's going on in and around Sylacauga. I'd like to thank Jim Heigl for coming in this morning. I had Nate Brewer, was Sylacauga's new city councilman, scheduled to be in this morning, but he called me last night and it was simply said I got the COVID. He said I got the quarantine.
Oh, okay.
So I guess he's been tested positive for COVID because he never told me that. He just said he's been quarantined. I don't know what he's been quarantined.
Well, he could have been around somebody that was having it.
But we wish him luck. And I called Jim about 9 o'clock last morning and woke him up. He'd been asleep for 3 hours when I called him.
You know my routine, don't you?
Called him and woke him up, and he said he'd be glad to come in. And there's a lot of things that we could talk about, Jim, but one of the things that's happened in Sylacauga in the last few weeks was this storm we had.
Oh, that was a beaut.
It hit Sylacauga harder probably than any other place in the state.
It probably did, Bob, but before this storm hit, we knew it was coming. We didn't know how the severity of it, but we were already prepared, but not to the extent that the damage had done.
Well, if in particular in my area of town and your area of town, there are a lot of trees, and I'm gonna tell you the pine trees wasn't affected.
No, they weren't. They've got a taproot.
If you had a big oak tree in your
yard, had a water oak,
and it was close to your house, you were in trouble. There were a lot of them on houses. But I want to praise Reed Caffrey once again,
yes, sir,
and his street and your street department for an excellent job. They've gotten everything back in shape. They're back on normal schedule.
They sure have. And with the staff that they had to do it, they worked. They were working 12 hours a day, almost 6-7 days a week.
And one of the places that was hit hardest in Sylacauga was Marble City Cemetery.
It was.
And Fort William Cemetery. And particularly the Marble City Cemetery got about 300 or 400 feet of fence when I've never seen a tree that big come up. It completely blocked the alley over there. And I'm on the Marble City Perpetual Care Committee, and we talked about this, and we got together and we agreed that was the last place to be cleaned up. But man, when Reed and his crew got over there, it took them about 2 days to clean that up, and they did an absolute beautiful
marvelous job. They do. And they're not finished yet. We've already got the bids out to replace the fencing, and Reed will be out there putting up some of the tombstones that were knocked over.
We had 10 or 15, and this is hard to believe, markers that were big markers that were blown completely over by the wind. People say it can't be done, but particular out in the middle of the cemetery where the trees weren't protected, it blew these huge markers off the base.
It was unbelievable. They'd take a tree down here and go several hundred yards and take out another tree. It was very highly unusual.
And we had a very unusual situation. I've been on the Perpetual Care Committee over there for many years. I've been going over there every day for many years. And particularly during this time, there was a group from Big Mac's Wrecker Service. I have no idea who did, came over there and cleaned up the huge cedar tree. And I guess it was on one of them's gravesite, but they had 4 or 5 people over there, and to be thanked, that came over there and worked and cleaned it up, and the city is cleaned up, and the Perpetual Care Committee has a maintenance worker, and we had him go over there. It was so bad that, Jim, you had to lock the gates to the cemetery.
Well, you had to.
You couldn't even get down the roads.
Well, they were covered.
And we got our maintenance guy, Nathaniel Seals, who does an excellent job, he works for the Perpetual Care Committee and is paid by the Perpetual Care Committee. And I'll put in a plug for the Perpetual Care Committee. We work simply, the funds that the Perpetual Care Committee has come strictly from donations.
Yeah.
If you would like to help further the repair of the Marble City Cemetery, or just help out in the situation, you can send a donation to P.O. Box 2362 And I'll give a shout out to Martha Payton, the chairman, Lane Mitchell, Ken Brewer, and myself on the committee. And it's been a lot of work, and thanks to the city for all they've done, and it's in good shape. It's one of the best kept cemeteries in the state.
It is, and we also have the one on Fort Williams, which is a little bit older cemetery. Maintaining that, we had some damage up there, but thanks to Reed Caffey, he got in there and got that cleaned up.
But Reed and his crew did an excellent job cleaning up the city. Let's talk about the city.
Okay.
Let's talk about some of the things going on. First deal is the Veterans Memorial Park, the walking track. There's an article out about the reconstruction is going to begin Monday.
Well, they've already surveyed the area. There are stakes out there now. They're about 50 feet east of the original wall that was there. It's already, the contractor's out. It came out, the council appropriated $150,000 for the building of this. These plans were given to the city by a contractor whose father was a World War II
Jimmy
veteran.
Ward.
Jimmy Ward. And they were given to Sam Wright. And they were given to the city to be put on city property and, of course, financed by the city. Of course, anybody who wants to help appropriate money to it is more than welcome. But it is now, the contract went out, and as I said, the council gave $150,000 to the Parks and Rec, to Jim Armstrong. Well, the bids came in to about $165,000. So the council came back and made another appropriation for the excess over the original $150,000. So it is in the progress now. The stakes are out there. They're getting the weather's holding up a little bit now, but the project is contracted out and it's on its way to be constructed.
I did notice we had some red surveying flags, and I guess that's
all part of it.
I guess that indicates that progress has been started. I don't know where it's been made, and I mentioned in the news story on the news this morning, if you would like to have a marker, memorialize
you can.
Somebody, if you'd like to put Jim Heigl's name on it or Bob Green's name on it or something, you could, man, there's an extensive, I won't even go into it, website and everything.
There is. You can get a look at the City of Sylacauga, the Parks and Rec, and there's a number there you can call and have the marker made, and you're so much per line, and all the old markers that came off the wall, they are to be replaced. Some were broken, as I understand, but that is the cost item for the Parks and Rec. They'll have to accept that. And I think all these new ones will be a lot neater and cleaner looking.
Jim, it's 10 minutes past the hour. I'm talking to Jim Heigl, the mayor of the city of Sylacauga, and 35 degrees in Sylacauga right now. It's cold out. We hope we get this Veterans Walking Park going, and let's talk a little bit about the city council meeting Monday night and some of the things I don't understand. Well, I do understand. 3 fire captains.
Yes.
For the fire department.
These job descriptions for fire captains have been on the table for years and all. It's just taking time to get the revenue to put them on. We've got 3 of them, 1 for each shift. You got 2 shifts working, 1 shift off all the time, rotating. And that will help us with the ISO ratings and everything else, because this is a line of progression that we're starting, with the lieutenants, captains. And
one of the things that's constantly, last 2 or 3 meetings, has been up is Police Chief Kelly Johnson has brought up a 2-tier pay scale for the police department. What's that all about? I don't understand that.
It's keeping police department, keeping police employees here in Sylacauga. We've lost several of them over the past several years. Different reasons, and pay seems to be one of the biggest issues that they are leaving. Some had wives working in Inverness or somewhere else. They got a better deal in the county, and they went with the county. And some moved because their wives were working somewhere else and be closer to her working area rather than commuting. There's different reasons, but the money was absolutely one of the biggest issues that they had to, the council has to address.
Also, a question about more workers for some of the departments in the city. And my question, I guess, is how do you or how does the city council decide who needs more workers in their department in the city?
Well, it depends on the department.
Is it the wheel that was?
Department
squeaks the most?
superintendents, the department heads, they look at their staff and they figure out what they need. Our job descriptions and all have been wavered over the years. We went for the Buford plan, and thank goodness I asked the Tate and Associates to come in. The council went along with that. We thought we had everything in, but it started going array. But we have to get these job descriptions, so we've got them there. All we want to do is update it. Sort of like, the planning commission. Somebody says, well, we can do this because we don't, the planning commission doesn't have a comprehensive plan. We always have a comprehensive plan. The only thing we're doing is updating it. So that's no excuse. But anyway, department heads, you have to evaluate and weigh in what kind of revenue do we have to support these?
Well, it's my understanding that the council does not approve a comprehensive plan. It's strictly the job of the planning commission.
Well,
Am I correct?
Yeah, sure it is. I mean, we've got one. We've had it for years, but the only thing we're doing is updating it, and it's been updated.
Yeah, you mentioned job description. I have a personal interest in that, and I'd rather not get into any discussion on that this morning. So that's the reason I'm avoiding that. But let's go back to the new Civic Center. Now that's an issue that's there, that seems to be the elephant in the room that nobody wants to talk about.
Well,
a lot of money has been spent on. Tell me what is the status of the Civic Center on Main Avenue in Sylacauga in the old Food World building?
That has not been determined by the council as of yet. No location has been determined.
Are you at will to say how much money has been spent on planning for that?
Well, it's engineering cost.
Well,
that's what you got, engineering costs to look at the building, see it was suitable for a community center, which it wasn't, and you got another engineering cost to figure out what it's going to take to engineer the tearing down of the building. Once you get that decided, you got engineering costs for the splash pad. You got the engineering costs for the building that you're looking at in the future for a community center. But as far as the location of it, we do not know where it's going to be located at. Now, the splash pad has come before the planning commission. They've asked them to look at the planning commission. Now, the planning commission can only make recommendations.
That's right.
The council can do anything they want to.
Well,
and basically they do. It's
if the planning commission recommends a specific location, it's my understanding it takes a supermajority of the council to overrule it.
It does.
It takes 4 members of the council.
It does.
Is that correct?
Yeah. Rather than 3, got to have 4 of them.
Okay.
But like I said, the planning commission is going to look into it deeply. They're going to look at engineering and everything else, and they're going to make their recommendation. May not be one place, maybe 2 places. Now, here's your options. But they're there to advise the city and how it fits into our growth of our city as well. Everything that is built above ground needs to come to the planning commission and see how it fits. How's it going to be zoned?
Do you, and I've asked every councilman that's sat here, I ask all the candidates that I got to interview on TV, when do you think somebody will ever be able to go swimming in the city's public pool again?
Well,
you got the idea. I mean, just looking.
Be realistic. It's going. If we don't do anything with the original pool now, it's going to be at least 3 years.
Okay. Well,
I mean, that's just common sense. I mean, engineering. We just haven't even gotten through the engineering yet to build the indoor pools or anything.
$13 million.
They're looking at a splash pad to compensate for the pool.
$13 million for a new civic center. How'd you come up with $13 million?
I didn't come up with $13 million. Nobody else came up with $13 million. $12 million is what?
$12 million. How'd you come up with $12 million?
This figure came from another city that built one.
Okay.
It's not from any of our engineering or anything. This came from somebody else.
Annexation.
Oh yeah, that's great.
And as the city, and I guess when I say the city, I'm talking about the council and the mayor. Has the city got any plans for any massive annexation in 2021?
Not massive, no. We do have people who are still requesting to come into the city. Some of them are contiguous, some of them are not. And those that are not, we're going to have to go through the House and the Senate in Montgomery to be signed off by the governor of the state. Yes, we do have people requesting they want to come in. The majority of our people who've come in over the years had children in our school system.
That's right.
It cost them $1,200, $1,500 a year. And then they came into the school system that they save that money every year, by annexing into the city.
Sales tax increase. What have you heard about the big rumor this week out that the council was considering a sales tax increase?
Well, I hadn't heard anybody from the council say that they were going to increase sales tax. Personally, I don't care for them. I say, look at the volume that we've grown into this city, how much, over $400, almost $500,000 more in tax revenues at this time of year. Of course, people are shopping here in Sylacauga, but other things, we're getting TJ Maxx's, we're getting Hobby Lobbies, we're getting Chick-fil-A, and we're also getting another grocery store in here. And these are places that you used to have to go to Birmingham. Now you can do it right here in Sylacauga. I think we need, I like the 8% tax compared to 2%. People coming from all 30, 40 miles around come to Sylacauga to shop. And that's where your sales tax comes from. And we need to leave it there, in my opinion. Because I haven't got a vote on it, but if I did, I would not vote for it.
Talking with Jim Heigl, the mayor of Sylacauga, with 35 degrees outside and about 18 minutes past the hour. There's construction going up Highway 280 next to TJ Maxx. You can go down to City Hall. It's public knowledge who took out the building permit.
The landscaping permits.
Well, it's construction permit. When will the city be able to announce who it is? I mean, you can go on and.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
the city's not going to announce it. The builder's the one who's going to be making the announcement. But right now, we've already got the prints in for the landscaping, for the basics landscaping area for it. Now we're sitting back. We are expecting the prints for the building to come in electronically first. And then the hard copies, the drawings of the engineering drawings of the building will come in next, and they will have the name of the store on it.
Having worked, well, when that comes in, can it go public?
Well, I guess so. It's up to the developer.
I mean, it's public now.
Well,
I mean, it can go.
Well, nobody's told me.
I didn't say the name of the grocery store hadn't been announced.
No, that's up to the individuals, you know, who's ever building it.
But
they'll let us know.
I guess I understand development. The development doesn't want it out there and all this. But sometimes I wonder if the rumors that are out there, and particularly with social media, and somebody can put on there what's going on, and somebody says quote is going there, and names a grocery store, and then all of a sudden. You got 200 comments on there from anything from.
Well, that's just people wanting to talk, you know.
I'll agree with that.
I've got to go by the laws and the rules.
I understand. Let's talk about the budget. What's the budget of the city this year? How much did they finally settle on?
Well, you know, we had a surplus on that, over $100,000 on it.
What is it? 18 million?
Yeah.
18.
Oh, no.
How much is it?
No, it wasn't that much.
I mean, that's public knowledge.
It was budgeted, and we did have a surplus. But the budgets are just give you a guide of what you're going to do throughout the year, Bob. You know that. It's just like you budget your business. You're going to budget so much what you know you got coming in. Now, that budget can be changed at any time.
Why can't you tell me it's 18 million and something dollars?
Because it's not 18 million.
Well, that's what I mean. Why can't you tell me
Because it's not that much.
Why can't you tell me the amount?
We've always been at about 15.
Okay. I mean, that's most of...
It's based on our income. That's just like the police department's looking for money now to make these adjustments for their pay rate. You have to look at it. Where is the money coming from? We have to know it ahead of time.
You had to do the same thing for the fire department. All the checks and
everything else that were approved by the council last Tuesday night, I cannot sign them till now. I'll sign them now. They'll write the checks out. But they has to be approved ahead of time. We have to know the money's there ahead of time. We cannot be throwing dice out there and put this city into a recession or whatever, you know. We have to be conservative with our monies.
What's the best thing about being mayor of Sylacauga?
The people. The city. We got a beautiful city here. Golly, Pete, I hear it all the time. You know, we got so much. There's so many advantages to Sylacauga. I mean, the other day I was listening to this gentleman here who on our Sylacauga trails, our Pinhoti trails, and just things like that, the fishing, everything else, the retail, the things that are going on in Sylacauga. Yes, the COVID has really hit us hard. It really put a big damper on us. And just like you said, that with Nate Brewer,
But it didn't hurt sales tax.
Well, no, because people are staying here and shopping, and we're giving them more reason. We're giving them better stores to shop at. Even downtown is being rebuilt. And right now we're down to what about maybe 2 stores that are not occupied, 3 really. But those buildings are being utilized, are being built up, are being brought up. This COVID, we're going to get over it. The serum's on the horizon right now. It's being given out throughout the country, to certain areas, nursing homes and caretakers and people like that.
Are you at liberty to talk about the 772 program that the city's thinking about?
Well, we've met on that 4 o'clock Tuesday afternoon, and 772, it's just an opportunity the city has, letting people in here, tax incentives, for new businesses and things like that. Right now, 5% should be the maximum on it, and maybe 5 years should be maximum, and should not go over 1/2 of the sales tax for
Okay.
rebate.
Okay. What? I guess to put it simply, what this states, if you got a business that wants to invest $100,000 in improvement in their business, the city will refund them back half of their sales tax increase for 5 years.
For roughly 5 years should be
up till they collect their minimum back.
Either that or put a cap on it of 100-something thousand. Yes, you can do it either way.
But that's 772, and that's what's got.
Well, it's encouraging people to come to Sylacauga to open up their businesses, and even other businesses, say, well, you're going to you already got an existing business, and you're going to increase it and put a bunch of money into it. Yes, you can do that above that, but not the total.
Well, I think what it is, you go back and average the sales tax for the previous
year, or 3 years, really.
Previous 3 to 5 years, and anything over that, you give them half. You can give them half the back.
Council can approve something.
But that's
like
what 772 is, and it's like one of the older councilmen that's not around, and he says it's always better to give away a half of something than to get all or nothing.
No, get all or nothing.
And I think we've got a shopping center sitting here today that's a result of that 772.
Well, it is. That's how it was brought, with 772.
And got the car dealerships.
That's right. We got that there. I think they got about 1 more year on their 5-year incentive.
How many people, how many businesses, I know you got one that's looking at this 772 and talking, and then you've got the group that's really doing a lot of changes downtown that's gone to 772. Is anybody? I'm not asking you for names. That should never be published.
We do have people still looking at Sylacauga. They're coming in periodically to our code department, getting information, also getting permits and everything else. We're looking at a new Pizza Hut in Sylacauga. That's something. You're looking at another retail store over there by Walmart. You're coming in. You're looking at Big Lots. They're expanding. They're going to take in the Goodies building as well as the old Goodies building as well. I mean, the old Big Lots building and the Goodies that were next to them. They're planning on taking all that in. That's what
they're going to do. The old Sears building also.
No, the Sears building doesn't touch. Well, it touches it, but they're not taking that in. Somebody else was looking at the Sears building.
Okay.
And I get hit all the time. Say, well, I heard Tractor Supply was going. These are all rumors, We have Tractor Supply looked at us at one time. About a year or so ago, but they haven't been back yet. They may come back. Hopefully, we will. But right now, they're not. We have nothing to indicate that they're coming.
You got any industry on your doorstep?
What industry you have out there now is off of Heigl Road, or be on the west side of Heigl Road over there. A new industry is built there, and of course, our spec building is about complete there. That'll be going on the market pretty soon. We have some 40-something acres across the road from that for industrial development. We are kind of running low on industrial properties. But like I said, this new company, I don't know the name of it. They'll be using calcium carbonate, bagging it up and shipping it to different areas. And then you got Plastical. They should be up and running. And they're a new business over the past 3 years.
Jim, I can only thank you for helping out this morning and coming by at this late notice. And I wondered what we were going to talk about when you walked in, and I took the I took the notes. I took the notes I had that I was going to talk to the Nate Brewer about. I took those notes, and that's what we talked about.
Ask Nate about them.
Plus some other things, and
Nate's the one that's got the vote.
Okay, the census is coming up on December 31st, and I hope we make.
Well, I hope so too. It's going to make a big difference in our government, to stay the same. If we go below that, the mayor will become part of the council, and he will chair it. Yeah, we don't need that. We need to grow. We need to go the other way. We need to grow. We're growing. We're moving. It's taking time.
A question you can't answer: if we go below 12,000, I hope we don't. When does the change happen? I don't think you know, or anybody,
well, it depends on the state constitution,
anybody knows. But Jim, appreciate you coming by. It's about 28 minutes past the hour. We got 2 minutes left this morning, and thank you for coming out.
Well, it's my pleasure, Bob. It's always nice for you to pick on me.
If you'll hang around, I'll buy you breakfast a little bit.
Well, I appreciate it. I haven't had nothing but a cup of coffee this morning.
That's more than I had. But thank you very much, Mayor, and we'll be back more Daybreak right after this.